What if the smallest action you repeat every day is quietly shaping the rest of your life? Why do some people seem to succeed effortlessly while others, equally smart, stay stuck? Discover the Stoic secret behind extraordinary success, and how consistency, not motivation, is the real game changer. Have you ever wondered why some people achieve their goals with ease while others, despite being smart and talented, remain stuck in place? We often admire successful individuals and quickly credit their achievements to luck or natural gifts. But the Stoics understood this well. Success doesn't come from explosive moments. It comes from consistency. It's not talent or opportunity, but steady persistence, repeated intentional actions that lead to meaningful change. On the path to excellence, consistency is often underrated. People wait for inspiration for the right time, but Stoicism teaches us this: waiting is wasteful. What matters is showing up, training, and taking action every single day, regardless of how we feel. Great leaders and powerful speakers didn't become who they are overnight. They honed their craft through repetition, deliberate practice, and constant refinement. It wasn't one grand gesture, but a series of consistent behaviors that built their solid foundation. In this video, you'll discover the true power of consistency, how it's formed in the mind, why it's essential in developing communication and leadership habits, and most importantly, how to make consistency your ally in the journey of personal growth. 1. Definition and power of consistency. Have you ever wondered why you start out full of energy, fired up and ready to go, but give up just a few weeks later? You set goals to learn a new language, exercise regularly, read more, and wake up early, all of it. But then things fall back into the same old pattern. The initial excitement fades. What's left is a lingering sense of guilt for not following through on what you once wanted. It's not because you're not smart. And it's not really because you don't have time. It's because you're missing one thing: consistency. In Stoic philosophy, consistency isn't loud or flashy. It's a quiet habit. It's the ability to repeat small actions every day, even when there's no inspiration, no reward, and no one watching. It's not about exploding with effort. It's about showing up daily, quietly, but relentlessly. Imagine exercising, just 10 minutes a day. It may not sound like much, but 10 minutes, 30 days is 300 minutes. Meanwhile, if you wait for a free day to go big and do one intense 2-hour session, then skip the rest of the month, your total is still less. On top of that, your body will be sore, your motivation will be drained, and your chances of quitting are much higher. The difference doesn't lie in intensity, but in rhythm. It's like growing a plant. You can't pour 20 L of water on it once and ignore it for the rest of the month. The plant will dry up. But if you water it a little every day, the roots take hold. Shoots appear. It grows steadily and eventually blooms. Consistency is like a gentle raindrop by drop, day by day, soaking into the soil and sustaining life. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly. There must be time. Give your best and be patient." That may sound obvious, but in today's fast-paced world of instant results, it's a crucial reminder. You can't force a seed to grow faster, just like you can't shortcut your own growth. Consistency is the rhythm of real progress. Stoicism teaches us that what we control is not the outcome, but our actions in the present moment. If every day you do one small thing in the right direction, you're building a solid path to where you want to go. You don't need a big burst of motivation. You just need to repeat the right thing, even if it's small, consistently. Look at anyone who's great at a skill: music, sports, writing, coding. You won't see them suddenly shine one fine day. What you'll see is them repeating the same movements, the same notes, the same lines of code over and over again across countless ordinary days. What creates the extraordinary is the ability to consistently repeat the ordinary. Consistency isn't glamorous, it doesn't trend on social media, it doesn't give you quick dopamine hits, but it's the quiet power that underlies every real achievement. It doesn't bring that rush of excitement, and that's exactly why it's the true foundation of any lasting change. The problem is we tend to underestimate small actions. Skipping one workout, putting off studying just once, breaking a promise we made to ourselves. We tell ourselves it's no big deal, but over time, those no big deals add up. They become a gap, one that's hard to bridge between the person we want to be and the person we actually are. On the other hand, if you commit to small actions done every single day, something incredible happens. Not overnight, not suddenly, but gradually through steady effort. Consistency is like carving a path through a dense forest. At first, you have to work hard just to clear the way. But if you keep walking it every day, the trail becomes clear. And one day you no longer have to try. It becomes a familiar route in your mind, your routine, your identity. And this is something the Stoic philosophers understood deeply. A life of virtue and resilience doesn't come from sudden inspiration. It comes from right habits repeated every day. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, didn't become a model of calm and strength because he spoke wise words, but because he practiced self-discipline, focus, and patience day in and day out. However, persistence doesn't mean being stubborn. It doesn't require you to be perfect. There will be days when you're tired, make mistakes, or fall short. That's okay. What matters is that you come back, that you keep going even if yesterday didn't go as planned. That's why in Stoicism what's truly valuable isn't doing a lot, but doing consistently. It's not about sprinting, but about running the marathon. It's not about instant perfection, but about daily progress. Consistency teaches you a powerful lesson. The real value doesn't lie in big results, but in the quiet habits you maintain every day. And that's also how you rebuild your self-belief. Not by setting huge goals, but by keeping the smallest promises to yourself. Waking up on time, writing a short paragraph, reading one page, drinking enough water, moving for 5 minutes. Small steps, repeated consistently. That is your real strength. So next time you feel unmotivated, remember you don't have to do a lot. You just have to not stop. 2. Scientific mechanism. Consistency isn't a talent. It's a function of the brain. And that's a powerful thing. Have you ever wondered why some things seem almost impossible at first? Then one day they become so easy you don't even have to think. Like the first time you learned to ride a bike. Wobbling, falling face first, heart pounding. But after just a few tries, your brain figured out how to balance. From that point on, you didn't have to think about pedaling. You just did it. That's not magic. That's science. And it's the quiet power of consistency. On a neurological level, this is called neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to change and rewire itself. Every time you repeat an action, you're carving a tiny mark into a path in your brain, like a traveler walking the same trail through a forest. At first, the grass is thick, the steps are heavy, but the more you walk it, the clearer the path becomes. Your brain works the same way. It remembers. It adapts. It chooses the path taken most often. Each repeated action strengthens a neural pathway, a small connection among billions of others. Over time, that action becomes instinct. So when you meditate for just 2 minutes each morning or read 5 pages every night, you're not just doing something small. You're reprogramming your brain. You're sending it a message. This matters. This is what I choose. And your brain, loyal to a fault, begins to adjust to help you do that more easily. Stoicism isn't a philosophy for dreamers. It's a philosophy for doers. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That line wasn't just a call for moral high ground. It was a reminder that philosophy, no matter how brilliant, is just theory, unless you repeat it every day and live it as a habit. You could read about Stoicism every morning, but if you don't practice calm in the face of irritation or discipline in the face of temptation, then the philosophy stays just words. Consistency is the bridge between knowing and living, between understanding and becoming. And from there we step into another powerful phenomenon, the compound effect. Imagine putting just $1 into a savings jar every day. Not much. It barely feels like anything is happening. But after a year, you've got $365. After 3 years, over 1 million, not counting interest. Big change always comes from small accumulations. Your brain works the same way. Every time you choose to stay committed instead of giving up, choose action over procrastination, you're investing in an invisible inner strength account. At first, no one sees the difference. But then one day you look up and realize, I'm not a procrastinator anymore. You've changed. Not in a single moment of enlightenment, but in hundreds of small moments when you chose to show up. Consistency isn't about doing things perfectly. It's about showing up every day, even in your most imperfect state, even when you're lazy, tired, or seeing zero results. Because it's on those days that you're building a hidden strength, trust in yourself. That trust doesn't come from big wins. It comes from one simple fact. You didn't quit. And once you understand how this works, you stop chasing after the next secret to success. You stop scrolling for that one piece of life-changing advice because you realize you don't need more inspiration. You need disciplined consistency. Stoic philosophy has always emphasized what you can control, and consistency is one of those things. You can't control outcomes. You can't force yourself to be smarter, stronger, or better today. But you can show up. You can begin. And you can repeat. That's a choice. And it's also your power. Of course, this isn't easy. Our minds constantly crave instant results. We live in the dopamine age where everything is fast. Short videos, express delivery, minute-by-minute notifications. In that world, consistency feels like rowing upstream. It's slow, repetitive, and a little boring. But that's exactly why the persistent ones stand out. When others quit after 7 days because they see no results, you keep going day 30, day 60, day 100. And the results don't come because you're better. They come because you stayed longer, like someone trekking through a jungle not stronger than a tiger, but steady with each step, keeping their breath even, avoiding missteps. And in the end, that person goes farther than anyone who ever sprinted. You don't need giant strides. You just need to keep walking. And if you fail, that's okay. Stoicism teaches us that mistakes are part of the journey as long as you don't give up. Stand up, start again, repeat. The path is still there, and every time you walk it, it gets clearer. The secret isn't in a perfect first day, it's in showing up on day 101. Your brain is always listening to you. It doesn't need you to be a genius. It just needs you to keep repeating who you want to become, and then it will start reshaping itself to help you get there. Consistency doesn't sparkle. It doesn't dazzle right away. But it creates depth, and depth never collapses. In the end, remember this. Stoic philosophy doesn't ask you to be extraordinary. It simply teaches you to stay grounded in chaos, resilient in fatigue, and consistent in doubt. Because you can't control the world, but you can control what you repeat. And what you repeat is what you become. 3 specific illustrative examples. Have you ever wondered why do some people study just 10 minutes a day yet? After a few months they make incredible progress, speaking fluently, acting with confidence. Meanwhile, others put in hours of effort, just once a month only to end up starting over again. The difference doesn't lie in explosive effort. It lies in consistency and showing up every single day like a promise you keep to yourself. Let's take a very specific example. Learning Japanese. Person A studies 10 minutes a day. After 1 year, they've racked up 3,650 minutes. That's about 60 hours. Person B, on the other hand, devotes 2 hours a month. Sounds impressive, but by the end of the year, that adds up to only 24 hours. Not even half of Person A's time. And that's not counting the fact that learning in 2-hour, monthly bursts often leads to forgetting, losing momentum, having to review, or even start from scratch. The result? Person A goes further, understands deeper, and remembers longer. Because our brains aren't built to learn through cramming. They're built to absorb through gentle, repeated exposure. Consistency is the quiet, but incredibly powerful lever. It doesn't shout. It doesn't dazzle. It doesn't make you say wow from day one. But over time, it outpaces every burst of random effort. Learning a language is like growing a tree. You can't dump a whole bucket of water on it one day and ignore it for the rest of the month. The tree will die. But if you water it just a little bit each day, it will take root, sprout branches, and grow little by little. Our minds work the same way. They need steady nourishment, not occasional overloads, followed by neglect. And this truth doesn't just apply to learning. Take fitness, for example. If you do push-ups for 10 minutes a day, nothing fancy. After just a few weeks, your body starts adapting. Your muscles respond. Your energy rises. But if you only work out once a month, even if you push hard for an hour, all you'll get is soreness. Your body doesn't see that as progress. It sees it as a shock. And chances are you'll quit soon after. So the question is no longer, how much can I do in one day? It's how many days in a row can I keep going? The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "No man was ever wise by chance. No one builds a skill, develops willpower, or finds real strength through a one-time effort. Wisdom, strength, success, they are all the result of small choices repeated every day. Not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't." And if we apply this to saving money, you'll see a similar lesson. If you save just $1 a day, an amount so small most people ignore it, then after a year, you'll have 365. After 10 years, that's $3,650. Not a small sum, but if you wait until the end of the year to save whatever's left, there's a 90% chance you'll spend it all. No system, no results. Stoic philosophy doesn't chase short-term outcomes. It teaches us to live with discipline and by one principle, do what's right regardless of how you feel today. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control what will happen in a month, but you can choose the right action today. And if you repeat that action every day, you are living by Stoic philosophy." No need to shout it. No need for grand expectations. Just self-control. But saying it is easy, doing it is hard. Because consistency requires you to beat a very familiar enemy, procrastination. There will be days when you're tired, when you think, "I'll do it tomorrow," when nothing seems to change after a week or even a month. But it's exactly in those moments that you have the greatest opportunity to train yourself. Stoicism teaches us inner freedom doesn't come from avoiding hardship, but from accepting it and pushing through. Remember, you don't need to do a lot. You just need to do it consistently. Even if you learn just 5 Japanese words today, it's still valuable. Progress. a signal to your mind that learning is part of your identity, not just a passing goal. If you exercise for only 7 minutes, it still adds up. If you drop a single dollar into your savings jar, it's still the right move. Consistency doesn't require perfection. It only requires that you return to it. Even after slipping, repeat one more time, then one more time again every day, because in the end, it's the smallest things done the most consistently that change your life. So if you've read this far, I'm not asking what big thing you'll do next month. I'm only asking what's the smallest thing you can do today. Do it, and tomorrow do it again. 4 common obstacles and solutions. Have you ever wondered why you start so many things but finish so few? We often begin with excitement, a plan to learn English, a resolution to exercise, a desire to write, learn an instrument, or grow as a person. But just a few days later, the initial enthusiasm starts to fade. Every time we give up, we ask ourselves, am I just not motivated enough? But the problem isn't how we feel. The problem is that we're waiting to feel something before we take action. And that's where we go wrong. Stoics don't place their faith in feelings. They don't wait for a good day to live well. They understand that consistency doesn't come from inspiration, it comes from discipline. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Don't talk about what you believe in. Live it. Be the proof of it every single day." And in today's unpredictable world, the strongest form of embodiment is this: showing up daily even when you're not perfect, even when you're not inspired, even when you don't feel like it, but still taking action. The most common problem people face is a lack of motivation. But Stoicism doesn't care much about motivation, because motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go like the weather. Today might be sunny, tomorrow could be a storm. If you only work out when you're in the mood, you'll never get the body you want. If you only study when it's fun, you'll never become skilled. Stoics teach us this. Do the right thing whether you feel like it or not. Discipline isn't a restriction, it's freedom. Because when you act without needing to feel ready, you take back control. You're no longer a slave to your emotions. One powerful solution. Build small habits, action first, and inspiration will follow. For example, instead of thinking about writing 1,000 words, just sit down and write one sentence. Just put on your shoes and go for a 5-minute walk. That tiny action is the spark that lights the fire. Remember, no one finishes a book through inspiration alone. They finish it by showing up every day, even on the worst days. But even when you've made up your mind to act, another obstacle shows up: distraction. These days, you don't even need to go anywhere to get distracted. Just pick up your phone. Notifications, videos, messages, all fighting for your attention every second. And worse, they come with convincing voices. Just scroll a bit, I need a break. I'll start after this video. Stoicism teaches that while we can't control our circumstances, we can control our choices. And the clearest choice is this: eliminate what distracts you. Turn off notifications. Leave your phone in another room. Create an environment that supports one thing: getting the work done. Don't fight distractions after they appear. Cut them off at the root. An effective method is the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes to start, do it now. Don't think. Don't wait. Don't weigh your options. Want to study an English lesson? Open the app. Want a journal? Pick up a pen. Want to go for a walk? Put on your shoes. The first 2 minutes are the gateway. Once you step through, everything gets easier. However, even if you do everything right, take action every day, clear all distractions. The biggest problem is this: you don't see results. You go to the gym for 2 weeks, your body looks the same. Study for a month and your English is still clumsy. Write for a month and no one's reading. And then you lose motivation. This is where most people quit, not because they're weak, but because they judge the results too soon. We're used to a world of speed. 2-hour delivery, 30-second videos. Success must be fast, must be explosive. But in the real world, real results come from small actions repeated consistently over a long time. You don't see a seed grow each day, but it's growing. You don't feel each run making you stronger, but it's happening. You don't notice the change because it's slow, but it's real. The way to overcome this is to track your progress and celebrate the small steps. Write down what you learned today, even if it's just one word. Mark your calendar every time you show up. Reward yourself for completing a full week without skipping a workout. Those little wins are the fuel that keeps you going. Stoicism doesn't promise quick success, but it does promise one thing: if you stay consistent, if you live by your principles, you'll never feel ashamed of yourself. And that is stronger than any motivation you've ever felt. Consistency isn't a gift reserved for the talented. It's a tool for those who know what they want and are willing to show up every day for it. You might not be perfect today, but if you act, you're winning. If you come back tomorrow, you're laying a foundation. And if you keep going, even when no one sees or claps, you're creating real change. So don't ask how to feel motivated. Ask, What's one small thing I can do today to stay on the path? Consistency is not about intensity. It's about showing up every day, especially when it's hard. If this resonates with you, share one small action you'll take today in the comments. We're on the same journey, and every small step you take is a much bigger move than you think. 5 3-step formula for maintaining consistency. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I always start but never follow through? You plan to study English every morning, work out every afternoon, and journal every night. But after a few days, it all fades away. You blame yourself for lacking discipline or motivation. But the truth is, you're not lacking motivation. You're just lacking consistency. In Stoic philosophy, consistency is not the outcome. It's a way of living. The Stoics don't wait for inspiration to act. They act regardless of inspiration. They understand that the small things we repeat every day slowly become who we are. No big change ever happens without steady, repeated steps. But how do you stay consistent when life is busy, moods fluctuate, and motivation is never quite enough? The answer lies in a simple but powerful 3-step formula. Start small. Stay accountable. Make it a habit. Step 1. Start small. Picture yourself standing in front of a dense forest. Your goal is to carve a path through it. If you rush in and try to clear a massive section all at once, then give up because it's exhausting. That path will never exist. But if each day you walk just a short stretch, clear a few steps, trim a few branches, over time a solid, visible trail will appear. That's exactly how small daily actions lead to big change. If you want to learn a new skill, don't start with an ambitious 2 hours a day goal. Start with just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Sounds too little? Try a simple calculation. 10 minutes a day x 365 days. 60 hours a year. That's 60 hours you would never have simply because you thought, what can 10 minutes even do? The power doesn't lie in the size of the action, but in the deliberate repetition. The Stoics teach us we can't change the world, but we can begin with one small action today and let that action change us. Step 2, stay accountable. If you've ever made a promise to yourself only to break it a few days later, you're not alone. We tend to go easy on ourselves. It's easy to procrastinate when no one's watching. That's why the second step to staying consistent is this. Build in accountability. There are many ways to do this. You can start documenting your journey, every study session, every workout, every small step forward. A notebook, a phone app, anything that can serve as a mirror helping you see where you're really going. Or better yet, find a partner. They don't need to be an expert, just someone committed to walk this path with you. Someone to check in, cheer you on, and when needed, call you out. Like 2 people training together or learning a new language together, having someone else show up makes you take yourself more seriously. The Stoics didn't isolate themselves. They trained in communities surrounded by others who shared their ideals. They believed that living well wasn't just about personal effort. It was about discipline and responsibility shared with others. Step 3. Make it a habit. Once you've started small and built some rhythm with accountability, the next step is to turn consistency into second nature. The key is this. Link your new habit to one that already exists. For example, after brushing your teeth each morning, spend 10 minutes reading. Or after dinner every night, practice your English pronunciation. By attaching the new habit to something already in your routine, you reduce the resistance that laziness often brings. Science backs this up. Our brains love familiarity. A repeated action done in a fixed context becomes automatic over time. And that's when you no longer need motivation to keep going. You've programmed yourself to show up. The Stoics understood this early on. They practiced ethics, reason, and calmness daily as a matter of survival. They didn't wait for the right feeling. They built systems to help them do the right thing, no matter how they felt. Why does this formula work? Because it addresses the root causes of why most people fail to keep their habits. You start too big. You have no one checking in. You don't have a repeatable system. On the other hand, when you start small, you have accountability and you make it automatic. You build a winning cycle. That's why high performers, from athletes and artists to entrepreneurs and philosophers, all live by a steady rhythm. They don't try to perform miracles every day. They just show up consistently and let the miracle happen on its own. So if today you're feeling unmotivated, that's okay. You don't need to sprint, you just need to start 5 minutes right after this video. Write a sentence in English, do 1 push-up. Read a paragraph of Stoic wisdom, log it down, and repeat it tomorrow. You don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something consistently. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said, no one can keep you from this. No one can stop you except yourself. And if you've made it this far, chances are you're ready. Ready to start small, ready to take ownership, ready to live a life of purpose and discipline like a true Stoic. So then start today, right now. If you found this message helpful, Drop a comment sharing one small action you'll take today and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more inspiring content. Change begins with a single click. But the results? They come from consistency. Consistency isn't some lofty ideal. It's simply about doing something again and again, turning it into a habit, strengthening neural pathways, and letting the results compound over time. In Stoic philosophy, persistence isn't about competing with anyone. It's about staying true to yourself, one step at a time, one day at a time. You don't need to start big. You just need to start. So, what small action will you take today to stay more consistent? Write down one tiny step you commit to taking and share it in the comments below. It could be reading for 5 minutes, taking 1 minute to breathe, or turning off your phone for 10 minutes to focus. Remember, success doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from a series of steady daily steps. Be that person, the one who shows up, even if just a little. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you won't miss future videos. Keep watching the next one to keep leveling up every day.